It's your girl Casey Inglis, aka CC Love, and I am here today with another video. Today we are going to be doing part 3 of my music love story. This is the conclusion, at least I hope so, or I think so, of my music love story. The first part we dived into artists and the genres that they're a part of. We talked a little bit about genre. We talked a bit about the songs and the albums that inspired us from those artists. Part 2 was more about the albums and the singles from those albums that resonated with me throughout my childhood and my formative years heading into my current age. So yes, we talked about amazing albums that I love from artists that have inspired me throughout the years. And this particular part of my music love story is about, it's also about some of the artists that I didn't mention in part 2. So I'm going to give a little bit of a shout out to artists that I think need just a little bit more of some love, or that I didn't get to mention their albums in part 2. And then we'll dive into my personal music love story, because I also consider myself a lover of music and a musician, in the form that I'm a songwriter and a singer. And so we'll get into my personal writing style, my melody picks, we'll get into my innate inclinations when it comes to music and what usually inspires me, and the type of melodies that I usually go for, the type of musical vibe that I usually go for, my vocal ambitions, the way that my voice currently is, and the type of ambitions that I have towards my voice and how I prefer it to sound and how I like it to sound. We're going to talk about song structure. We're going to talk about vocal care, how I care for my voice, vocal warm-ups, and all of those things, breath control, lyricism. And I have a beautiful, wonderful gem for you guys at the end of this video. I'm going to be doing an acoustic rendition, or I don't know if it's acoustic because I'm going to play the track with it, but I'm going to be doing a rendition of one of my favorite songs that I've written thus far, and it's called Wildflower. So stick with me all the way till the end to hear that song. I hope you guys absolutely love and adore it. But yes, let's begin my music love story, part 3. okay guys, so we're gonna start with genres. We're gonna start with the genres that have been absolutely influential towards me in my music love story, and those genres are R&B, gospel, pop, soul, blues, country, hip-hop, jazz, reggae, soca, and indie. So as you know, I am from the Caribbean, so I definitely have that background in where I am in love with music like soca and reggae and Afro beats, even music that has a very Afrocentric vibe to it. I am in love with that type of music, and I just have to blame it on my Caribbean upbringings. But I've also loved R&B and gospel and pop and soul and blues and country and hip hop and jazz. And so, yes, those are the artists and the genres that have really been influential towards me, the genres that I'm really inclined to writing within. So far I have written some soca songs, I've written some R&B songs, I've written some gospel songs, and I would consider some of the stuff that I've written some indie songs. And so I haven't touched on all the genres that have inspired me throughout my youth, but I've definitely stuck within that range of genres in my music writing. Yes, so now it's time for one of my favorite parts. It's an artist shout out. So I didn't get to touch on these artists in part 2, so I'm just gonna give them a shout out right now. I'm not gonna go deep dive into it, not gonna get into the singles and the albums. I might for some, but like, don't have too much time. Don't have too much time. So like Childish Gambino, an artist that I absolutely love and adore. I love his artistry. I love his versatility within his art when it comes to music, and we see his versatility all throughout, because he's also an actor, a producer, a director, a musician, and I just love the way that he's able to and infuse his creativity and tell a story so creatively within his songwriting and the types of songs that he chooses, the type of beats that he chooses, and the type of genres that he dips into. I love that. I think he's also an artist that is honing in on his singing ability, because when I first heard of Childish Gambino, I just knew of him as a rapper. But I definitely think he is someone that has found his voice vocally, like within um possibly within the R&B space, and is infusing that a bit more into his rap songs, and I find that very beautiful. I love when artists do that, and just a mixture of the singing and the rapping, or also just sticking to a bluesy vibe or an R&B vibe, sticking strictly to that vibe. I love that he's found his voice, and he does have a beautiful male vocal voice. It's one of the it's on the softer side. When I have heard him sing, it's usually on the softer side. I do think it's partly due just a little bit to shyness and not just wanting to fully come out of his shell within his vocal singing ability. And so I'm actually very excited to see his voice vocally progress as he gains more confidence in his voice and he realizes what his voice can do. I would love to like do a video when I go back and listen to his first songs and see the progression from there in regards to his singing ability, because I just know that his voice can actually give more. I could just tell. I could just know when a voice can give more. And yeah, so he's literally one of my favorite artists. Ed Sheeran, I don't even need to like I feel like on my wedding playlist there are going to be many beautiful songs, but at least 5 or 6 of them are going to be from Ed Sheeran, because that's just what he does, and what he does so beautifully and so amazingly. He just makes you love more. His songs makes you just want to find a bae, even if you're single, even if you just broke up. You listen to an Ed Sheeran song and you just want to pull somebody close and say, let's work it out. Because he just writes about love so beautifully, and I absolutely love him as an artist. That is always what I aspire to do when I aspire to write a love song. I just aspire to make people want to be close, want to love, the idea of love, the idea of giving one's heart to somebody, and to enter into a space of intimacy with somebody. I just always want to create that atmosphere and that vibe when I write about love. And so I have to take some notes from Ed Sheeran for sure. When it comes to writing a classic love song, he is one of the greats to do it. Also, Adele. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I just love that Adele had the foresight to like write her, or to do her albums like from 21 to 25 and onward, because I really have noticed her progression as a lyricist, as a woman, as a mother, and a wife. All the transitions that she has gone throughout her years as a woman, and the life events that has happened, she placed all of that into her albums. And it's just, she is an artist that has been so vulnerable in her work. And I absolutely love and adore her for that, because that is not easy to do, and it's something that I aspire towards as a woman, to be vulnerable and to tell stories that actually hit home for people, that people can relate to, especially within womanhood, within marriage, within motherhood, and as a growing, aging woman. I feel like she's done that so beautifully. And I love so many songs from her albums. She's also a person that I feel like can write an amazing, beautiful love song that is just relatable, and definitely some of her songs will be played at my wedding reception. I just know it. I already know it. Do I have my wedding playlist picked out? Duh. But yeah, moving on to Bruno Mars. Bruno Mars is an amazing, not just an amazing artist when it comes to lyricism and song choices and his versatility, not just with his voice, but his versatility in regards to the type of songs that he chooses. He's not an artist that we can just place into an R&B box. He's giving blues, he's giving pop, he's giving R&B, he's sometimes giving a little jazz flair. Sometimes he invokes a little bit of that reggae Afro pop type vibe into his songs, and I just love the versatility within his song choices. The fact that they make you want to get loose, they make you want to dance, they make you want to cry. He's catering to every emotion within his song choices, and I feel like he's an amazing vocalist who is, I don't think he's underrated. I just think he needs just a little bit more flowers. Just a little bit. And that's what I'm here to do today. I'm just giving all of these artists their flowers here today. Okay? Usher, for Confessions alone. Simply for Confessions alone. I'm giving Usher all his flowers. Okay? Like, I don't need to say more about his artistry. And some of the artists that I just mentioned, they're not just singers. They're triple threats. They're acting, they're singing, they're dancing, and they're doing it all to a high level and a high capacity. Like, is that not aspirational? Tell me it's not. Okay then. Usher, singer, dancer, actor, father, all of the above. Albums go crazy, representing for the A every single time, but also can give you an amazing R&B song, can give you an amazing club banger. Like, he had because he was representing for the A, you know that he had to have those club songs that make you just want to do a little something on somebody's son in the club. Okay? And I just loved every single release from Usher, and even the gems that you have to go deep into the albums to find. Like, absolutely love his songs, love his collab choices, especially when it comes to R&B and love songs. The collabs that he makes, like the songs with Brandy, and every single collab choice that he has made, I absolutely love. Okay, SZA. Y'all don't know how much I have love for CTRL. Like, I feel like I've talked about it in part 2, but I just want to just dwell on it just a little bit more right here. Absolutely have love for CTRL. That's a no skip album to me. I will play it through every time. There are songs on here that I will hear to this day that I will just absolutely sing my heart out to, because it just hit me. That's where it hit me. And if it hit me there, that's where I gotta that's where I gotta pull from. Okay. So yes, SZA, SOS, also amazing albums, and SZA has amazing EPs. Like, if you have to go back really deep into her discography, amazing EPs. And honestly, from what I've seen from her EP work to her second solo album release, the artist development has been it. Like, my girl glowed up within the industry, not just from her vocal ability, it's also her writing ability, it's her stage presence, her confidence on stage, her looks, the looks that she gives on stage. All of that has grown from those EP days to her current SOS sophomore album. And so I absolutely love that. That is also aspirational for me as an artist. Her lyricism has progressed so much. I feel like she really speaks to this generation, the way that we speak, the way that we talk to each other, the slangs that we use, the terms that we use, how we feel about these men, how we feel about femininity, how we feel about escapism. So many things and topics that she has touched on that are absolutely relatable to me as a woman. And I absolutely love her for that. I hope she continues on this path. I hope she continues to progress lyrically, vocally, and I'm excited to see what else is what SZA has to bring for us. Okay, Hozier. I feel like he is, at least within my community, I feel like he is one of the most underrated, like, artists because I think lyrically he touches on subjects that sometimes seem so morbid, so gory, but it speaks to me in a way that I cannot relate. But he also can give you an amazing love song that just talks about the deepness of what love can be between two people, the willingness and that he is the willingness to share his life with somebody, to talk about love with somebody, to love somebody deeply and vulnerably. I feel like Hozier does that so amazingly. Like, if you go and listen to his latest album, you will know what I'm talking about. Like, he is, and also beyond his lyricism, I think vocally he is so amazing. His voice is as smooth as like a Japanese sake. It just goes down and you don't have to do nothing with your face. It just goes down smooth like that. Like, that's how beautiful his voice is to me. Okay? It's like one of the most finest, smoothest sakes I've ever had in my life. um yeah, I think, and I also find him immensely attractive. Like, I literally have a crush on him. That's my whiteboard crush currently. And I also would love to do a collab with him if I ever get the chance to live out that dream. God knows how excited I would be, and how I feel like I would combust if that were to happen. But yes, I think he's beautiful. He's a beautiful man, a beautiful lyricist, a beautiful artist, and a beautiful singer. So yeah, shout out to Hozier. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep dropping amazing albums. Whatever path it is that you're on, I hope that you continue on that path, as long as it gives us beautiful albums. But also take care of yourself, babe, because some of the songs be a bit like, are you going through something? Like, I be having to ask, like, are you going through something? Is everything okay? Because it's a bit dark. But then he does give that amazing balance, like with the darkness and the light, and bringing it all together, and talking about death, but also talking about love and talking about life. And I feel like the range of topics that he discusses is just so amazing from a male artist, and the depths that he goes to within his lyricism, but also the heights that he goes to within his lyricism, is something that I aspire to. Miguel. Every single album by this man I have loved. Every single album I consider a complete and utter banger. I consider so beautiful. There are singles that from Miguel that will be on my playlist till the day that I die. Because the songs are so freaking good. They just make me want to dance every time. They make me want to sing every time. They relate to me every time. They still pull out certain emotions from me every single time. And I just love an artist who can be that classic and who can stay that fresh in my life through my evolution. Even though the song or the album has been around for 10 to how many years, it's like I will listen to it to this very day and it sounds as if it's brand new, and it's still so very relatable, and I still love it as much as I did the day that I listened to it, possibly even more. And Miguel is an artist that just does that for me. I love his lyricism, I love his vocal ability, and I love his artistry as well. So yes, shout out to Miguel. I hope you receive your flowers, because I'm sending them to you, baby. Okay, I hope I got the right address for your flowers. Michael Jackson. I don't even need to go into depth about the classic man that Michael Jackson is, the legend that Michael Jackson is, and his contribution to the music industry in regards to pop, in regards to R&B, from his younger days with Jackson 5 to his solo career with bangers like Thriller and so many other amazing songs that Michael Jackson has contributed to the music industry, and to us as lovers of music, to just me personally as a lover of music, I absolutely love and adore him. Bob Marley. That is also an artist who, and I have discussed this, but he's just an artist who is all around amazing, a legend, a lyricist, a movement. Like beyond his artistry, he is a movement and has and recognizes power and used it to help change the world for the better. And so that is why I find Bob Marley absolutely inspirational. Whitney Houston, a powerhouse voice, a voice that cannot be reckoned with to this day. To this day, Whitney Houston has a voice that is classic and timeless, a voice that is so smooth and so gracious, a voice that is so aspiring, a voice that can go to the depths and to the heights. Her voice is just so utterly beautiful, and that's why I feel like she was just made for a ballad. Like every single ballad that she has tackled, she has hit it at the park with that ballad. And so I absolutely love Whitney Houston. I love a Whitney Houston ballad, and I also love a Whitney Houston pop song, don't get me wrong, but her voice really shines through a ballad. And I also love her lyricism and her artistry, and I just wish we could have had more time with her voice as listeners. But what we did get from her and her artistry throughout the years has been completely amazing and completely timeless, and will live on long, from a long time from now. Like it's gonna last. Shawty got a legacy, okay? Marvin Gaye. Okay, let's talk about artists that have a legacy. Marvin Gaye has a legacy. Like, you know what time it is when a Marvin Gaye song comes on. Your grandma know what time it is when a Marvin Gaye song comes on. Your aunt, everybody in the family, everybody knows what time it is when a Marvin Gaye song comes on. Because not only does he have that distinctive voice, he just has that vibe with his songs and with his albums. You know that it's about love. You know that it's about that sexy time. You know that it's about a groove and a vibe. You know a Marvin Gaye song when you hear that voice come on at the beginning of the song. Okay, and so I just love that. I love that the distinctiveness that he has created within the genre and within his genre. I love the legacy that he has created. I love that he's a classic artist who has stand the test of time from my grandma's generation up until now. He's still building musically. And so even beyond his death. And so that is amazing. Absolutely amazing. Prince is also an artist like Marvin Gaye who has an amazing legacy. Sam Cooke, Otis Redding, artists who have died, but their music lives on, and their music is essentially living beyond their death. And that's just amazing because they did what they needed to do in regards to the vocal quality that they gave while they're alive, the lyricism, the genre that they contributed to, the all-around vibe of the artist. Every single one of the artists that I just mentioned literally did what they needed to do within their genre to create that legacy to where I'm talking about them to this day. Beyond their death, far beyond their death, and far beyond my death, I think their music is gonna live on. Giveon, I think he's a new artist in the game, a new artist in the industry, but I feel like he came knowing exactly what the music industry needed in terms of male R&B. I think that there was a little bit of a pocket that was missing in regards to those R&B songs where a man was very confident, but also vulnerable enough to talk about heartbreak, vulnerable enough to talk about relationship with the woman, to talk about where he fell short and where he was lacking, to talk about the things that he needed to do as an artist. I mean, as a man within a relationship, to have made the relationship work with a woman, to hone in and zone in on those vulnerabilities within his lyricism and within his work, especially as one of his first major albums. I think that was an amazing, and that also was a space within the male R&B genre that was missing, and he filled that space, and now I feel like he has a solid foundation within that genre, and he's able to now branch out and go to different places within that genre. I absolutely cannot wait to see what he does next within this space. I think he has such a distinctive yet beautiful voice. Let's talk about that voice a bit. It's so very like such a baritone type voice, yet it's still so smooth, and I feel like he has amazing control over his voice. And yeah, I absolutely, he's one of my favorite voices currently within the R&B space. Daniel Caesar, Lucky Day, her, Jhené Aiko, and last but not least, Miranda Lambert. I think are artists that I absolutely love and adore. Artists that I think will be timeless within their industry. Artists who have amazing vocal and writing ability, and are currently in a phase where they're going through a metamorphosis within their development as well, because they're branching out into spaces where they're improving their writing ability, also trying to hone in on their development in regards to their stage presence, in regards to choreography, in regards to dancing, but also branching out further within the industry, and entering to spaces within the art world and within the movie world, but also keeping their music, which I believe is their first love, at the core of who they are, and sticking to the foundational blocks of what artistry really is, and what a singer, a songwriter should be within the space. And so sticking true to their artistry while also branching out into other worlds is definitely something that I find aspiring, something that I want to do quite well within this space. And yeah, shout out to those artists. I hope they receive their flowers. I hope they gain continuous longevity within the space. And I'm excited to see what's next from these artists. But let's get right into my personal writing style. So I started writing songs a bit later on in life, but I wrote poetry from quite a young age. I started writing poetry, I want to say, possibly like around the age of like 10, 9, or even younger, possibly around 8 years old. Started writing poetry, I had an innate love for rhyming, an innate love for just writing down my feelings and having it be a way to express my emotions at that age. And it was something that I continued to do into my teen years, and I developed a great love for writing poetry and expressing myself through that way. Whether it is, if I had a crush, I would write about that young boy. There are many crushes that I have written about in my teen years and even my early 20s. My first experience with death, well, it wasn't my first experience with death, but it was one of the first experiences with death that I had from somebody who was around my friend circle. And so I wrote about that in my early teen years. And so anything that I found very poignant and really hit a string within my heart, within those formidable years of my life, I definitely have moments where I have written about it. My move to the US was something that I found very hard to reckon with at the time, and I definitely wrote a little bit of a poem about that. there are so many things um, that inspire me within my personal writing, and it's just it could be something that's completely non-personal to me, or something that is more of a cultural moment or of a cultural relevance. I could write about that, or I choose to write about that sometimes, but most of the time, my personal writing style stems from what I am currently going through, an emotion, a feeling, a mood, or a vibe that personally speaks to me or that is personally resonant within my life. And so, yes, it could always be about life moments, current events, random moments. Sometimes I would like look at a flower and just choose to write about it. It could be as random as that, but it could also be as intentional as that, because I do find myself wanting to test out my writing ability and wanting to challenge myself within my writing ability, and so just picking random things and challenging myself and freestyling in a way to branch out and write about things that um is somewhat not necessarily the norm within my personal writing. And so I'm definitely trying to evolve as a writer, trying to gain more knowledge as a writer, and in how to personally structure songs, but also how to write in a way that really evokes the emotion that I want to portray, and really vivid. Like if I'm writing about a flower, I want, beyond me saying the name of the flower, I also want you to kind of just see in your mind's eye the beauty of the flower that I'm describing. I want you to almost have a whiff of what you think it would smell like, because I've described it so eloquently and so detailed, and because I've been so intentional with my words. That's the type of place I'm trying to get to within my writing ability. And I just like feel like I just need to practice a bit more. But yeah, currently that's my writing style, and that's where I am with my personal writing ambitions. In regards to melodic picks, I usually do go for a catchy song. Songs that when you listen to an artist, or if you know an artist, songs that would usually be chosen for a single, I like those type of songs that would catch the audience at very first listen. That a song that will just bring you a moment of joy, a moment of just wanting to dance or be happy, a song that will put a smile on your face or just make you tap your feet just a little bit. I want my song to also be a little bit of an escapism for the audience. I want my song to get the ear of the audience and have them completely hone into the melody and hone into the lyrics and get a little deeper and deeper within the song within each listen. But I wanted to catch them at the very first time. And so that's literally the type of songs that I go for when it comes to melodic picks. I go for that catchy vibe. I also love an acoustic vibe. I love a song that simply is just focused on one instrument, but really it's about the voice of the artist. It's about really hearing the voice of the artist and giving more attention to the lyricism. And so that's why I love acoustic songs, because every time I know that a song is initially an acoustic song, I know that the artist paid more attention to their vocal stylings and more attention to their lyricism within that song. And so when I go for acoustic songs myself, that's literally what I try to focus on. I try to focus on my vocal ability and the vividness of the lyricism within the song, because it doesn't have to fall back on those other instruments. It doesn't have the space to fall back on the drums, or it doesn't have the space to fall back on the loudness of the background vocals. It's literally just the artist and possibly a guitar, the artist and some other instrument, but it's about literally their voice and the lyricism, and that also gathers the attention of the listener in a way like no other, which is why I do love an acoustic melody song. I also like a very classic ballad, a song that is really focusing on vocal strengths and those long notes and extending those notes to show off the vocal ability, but also a catchy hook, but an amazing bridge that's also like a third verse, but within like a different melodic styling. And so it just creates that kind of it creates a little bit of a different vibe within a song. And so I just love a classic ballad and the classic song structure of a ballad when it comes to songwriting and my personal melodic picks. I'm also here for the new wavy type stuff in the way that Afrobeats is currently like a new wave, in a way that reggaeton is somewhat of a new wave. um I'm also here for like trying to stick with the times, even though I would always want to remain classic within my genre, always want to remain a classic artist. I'm also the type of girl who um definitely like